Okay, I think let us slowly start as more people are coming in. So very warm welcome and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. Thank you and for joining this session on digitalization and InsurTech. So many thanks goes to the Insur Resilience Secretariat for hosting this session in the annual forum this time, and for inviting GIZ to organize and moderate the session. And many thanks also to the Insur Resilience Solution Fund, to Annette Ditken, for supporting here, because we have two cases from the which are supported by the Insur Resilience Solution Fund, and we have two cases which of studies that of implementations that have received support by GSAT or are having receiving currently support. So I think as more people might join in, let me slowly start with the housekeeping. One thing I would like to say that the session is recorded. So in case you have any problems with the session being recorded, I would kindly ask you to keep your mic muted and your cameras off so that there is no problem. Otherwise, the recordings will be shared later. So in addition, I would like to say, if you have questions, like two guys wrote here, you can put them in the chat function by introducing yourself, putting the question there. We will later have also the opportunity after the presentations that you raise your hand, I mean digitally, and articulate your questions right away. I hope you can all see the housekeeping slide on the right-hand side. What you can do, but I don't ask you to do it right now, you can minimize the presentation after all presentations are over and we come to the panel discussion. That will give you the opportunity to see the speakers on a larger screen. And you can restore that again. And it is shown here in that slide how you minimize it and how you restore. So much to that. So how will our session look like today? So I will start with giving you an introduction to the topic, digitalization and insurance, inclusive insurance, followed by Annette Ditken, who will further introduce and go into details and link it also to the ISF cases. And that will be followed by Rebecca from GIZ with a link to our GIZ work and how we do it. We try to keep it short and sweet, and then we would be coming actually to the presentations of the four panel speakers. And they will presenting, each of them will be representing or presenting a case study, two of the ISF and supported schemes and two by GIZ supported. And this will be short, like each presentation will be about 5 minutes. And as I said, raise your questions in the chat. But we will have one presentation after the other, and then we will come to the second bigger part of the session, the panel discussion, where we will answer the questions. So let me start here with an introduction about digitalization in the insurance world, or looking at insurance in the digitalization in the value chain of insurance. On the left-hand side, you see all the type of buzzwords which you might have heard a lot of times: artificial intelligence, big data, Internet of Things, blockchain. And on the right-hand side, I have put the value chain processes of insurance, which you also know, like awareness raising, product design, and underwriting, claims management. And basically what I'm trying to hint at is that every value chain process which you see on the right-hand side is impacted by digitalization or new technologies, not just by one of them, but by multiple ones. And because every value chain process is impacted by this digitalization, one could say or assume that digitalization is transforming the insurance sector. It is surely changing also the way that insurers and customers interact. And while, yes, we agree that digitalization is like the fourth industrial revolution, the question is, what does it mean for for insurance, but what does it mean for inclusive insurance? And I think what we can see is also that the InsurTech ecosystem and the inclusive insurance ecosystem, they are interacting more and more, luckily. And I think the question that arises from that, and maybe we get an answer to that, is, can this make insurance more inclusive? Let me therefore look at the opportunities. So with all the different kind of tech innovations applied in the insurance value chain, we can see that there's a potential that the effectiveness of our solutions and the efficiency is increased. Hopefully, we will also see that we are shifting from a more distribution-focused product design to a more customer-centric product design. And I think for sure what we're going to see, because we have more data and we are better equipped in analyzing the data, that we could see new products being developed. We might also see that existing products are modified and concepts are modified. And hopefully, and that's also what we see, because of the efficiency increase, that prices might also drop. And this could lead to a higher value for the customer eventually, which we are all interested in. In addition, the new applications could also lead to an increase in transparency, which is an advantage for the customers. And it might also be an advantage for the insurance companies. May I ask everyone to mute your mic? To mute your mic in the main plenary session, I was asked. I think there are multiple voices. Can everyone hear me? Yeah, okay, perfect, then I continue. So these are some of the opportunities, but they also come with challenges, and the challenges are exactly related to the opportunities. So we have new products, we have new actors, and the new actors are small InsurTechs, but it might also be big like big data companies or tech companies. So one has to think about how to do a proper regulation or supervision of those actors and the new products. And in addition to having more data and knowing more about the customers, and because the data is better analyzed, we also come into ethical considerations of how is the data used, or is there a risk of misusing it? And there's another potentially negative impact, and the other potentially negative impact is related to, because we understand risk better, we are better in a position to do a risk-based pricing, a more accurate risk-based pricing, which might lead to negative impacts on solidarity if the good risks are less interested or willing to subsidize the bad risks. While we have pointed out at the opportunities for some of the more traditional or big players in the sector, to modernize means extra work. They have to build capacities of their staff, they have to buy licenses or build up, internal new tools. This is work, and beyond all of this, I think one should also stress, and I think Panuel will point at this when he talks about the case in Bangladesh, we can do maybe many things end-to-end more and more, and we can try to avoid human beings, but in the end, often the customers might want to have a bit of a human touch, so this might also be one of the challenges. So having said that, I would like to now continue or ask Annette Dietgen to continue. Let me just give a short introduction. She is, I think, very well known in the field. She has a ton of experience in climate finance and insurance, and she's heading the InsurResilience Solution Fund, and she serves as a senior advisor to several governments and to international development agencies, so on and so forth. Prior to that, she was working for KfW as the head of division of the Sector Policy Unit Financial Sector Development. And from her background, she studied economics and finance, and she did her PhD at the University of Basel. So over to you, Annette.
Well, thank you very much, Nihar, for that introduction, and thanks for being invited to this very interesting panel. I keep it brief because I think what we all decided is that we want to really have the showcases, the cases and really implementation on the ground, and giving them the opportunity to discuss and show their challenges, but also really introduce the projects they are implementing on the ground. So just a brief introduction of the InsurResilient Solutions Fund. We have been set up in 2019, are funded by KfW on behalf of the German Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development. And as such, we have different instruments to support the development of new climate risk insurance solutions, covering actually macro, meso, and micro level approaches. And today, I'm very happy that Manuel and Amos is two projects that we are very happy to support from our side, are going to introduce their proposal that we are co-funding on the ISF side. So in both of these cases, I think it shows very much that digital innovation can help to overcome barriers and challenges that are, especially in the agricultural insurance and climate risk insurance on the micro level, a challenge to scale up. And that is something that we thought was very convincing in these proposals, one in Bangladesh to boost agricultural risk mitigation for smallholder farmers. Their Syngenta Foundation is developing actually a new approach, and this is really a wider approach. It's not just one product, but it's really the ecosystem for smallholder farmer agricultural insurance that is addressed here. So Syngenta Foundation is developing these together with Green Delta Insurance and Brock. And here we have a main focus on the product design and bringing actually the necessary data for the product development and building an ecosystem such that the players and the local insurance are more actually have more capacity than to provide more products to the end client. But as said, it's really covering the whole value chain. We just consider that this is the focus in this project, but Manuel will further then explain. And we have amazing crop insurance program in Kenya that Amos is going to introduce. And here we have a cooperation between the Center for International Center for Tropical Agriculture together with Acre and Wandersat that actually shows how digitalization can help to further develop and enhance and improve the insurance product, having a feedback actually between the implementation by picture-based innovation and having that information feeding back into the product design. So I stop here. I think with these two projects, we have we're very confident that digitalization is actually serving the end client, and we're looking forward to the presentation. Thank you very much.
I think you're on mute, Mia.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Annette. I'm passing over to to Rebecca Hausberger, and I would like to give a short introduction to her. She's working at GSAT since 2 years as an advisor for insurance at the Competence Center, Financial Systems Development and Insurance. And she focuses on topics like climate risk insurance and agriculture insurance, also responsible for public relations and for managing partnerships. Before joining GSAT, she also worked at KfW for some time and had several internships with the BMZ and several NGOs. She holds a bachelor's degree in international economics and development and a master's degree in international development studies from Philipps University, Marburg. Over to you, Rebecca.
Thank you. And I'm very happy to be here. I will give just a very brief and short introduction about GSAT's approach to technical assistance and the topic of insurance. So currently we have about 20 projects around the world with a budget of 60 million euros who are working with 14 country teams and more than 60 colleagues on the topic of insurance. And that means we have bilateral projects, but we also have regional and global projects who have implementation teams on the ground. Within those projects, we focus on topics such as agriculture, risk catastrophe financing, urban resilience, ecosystem-based adaptation, renewable energy, technology, and regulatory support. of course, also digital and innovations are not to be amiss here. And our approach of work looks like the following. So we do a lot of capacity building. This means, for example, workshops with farmers to talk about financial literacy, or workshop with ministries in partner countries. We do regulatory support. Here to mention is also the A2II, Access to Insurance Initiative, who's working with regulators around the world on making regulation for insurance more inclusive and to allow for more innovations. And we also do product development, usually in the early stages, and always together with partners on the ground. So this could, for example, be like data collection with a local insurer, or designing a new product and putting out a pilot. And today we have two projects here who are with GSAT, and they will be presenting their digital innovations. One is my colleague Ranma Lee, joining from Sri Lanka, and she will present her innovative app for smallholder farmers, where they can buy insurance through the app. And the other is our partner Swetan from the Microfinance Institutions Network, who will be talking about an innovative Netcat project, which we designed together in India. And without further ado, I would hand over back to you, Niha. I think you're mute again.
I think I'm not able to learn this. Thanks, Rebecca. We will go over to the first case study in Bangladesh. We have Manuel Rosario Prince, who will be presenting it. He's the project manager at Syngenta Foundation for Sustainable Agriculture in Bangladesh, and he has a lot of experience working with microfinance products and processes with a lot of microfinance institutions in the country. At Syngenta Foundation, he manages a project which is supported or is currently supported by the Resilience Solution Fund, which is on climate risk insurance for smallholders. Beyond that, at Syngenta Foundation, he leads the overall crop insurance product development process and facilitates the adoption of this InsurTech platform, the resilience engine, which he will be presenting right now. Over to you, Manuel.
Okay, thank you, Neha. Hello, everyone. This is Panuel. So, as my introduction follows, I'll be presenting a case on the resilience engine. So, resilience engine is an end-to-end digital solution for the crop insurance value chain, and so definitely it's a global product, can be customized and used in different countries. But since I am implementing and testing it in Bangladesh context with the support of ISF. So I'll be just sharing the findings and experience from Bangladesh. So let me start with the value chain, what actually crop insurance value chains looks like. So if we can just give a look to the value chain of the crop insurance, we'll see three major value chain actors. One is the insurer or the insurance company, and the next is the aggregator or the agent who actually sells the product to the last mile farmers, and definitely the farmers at the end of the value chain. So we can see that the insurer or the insurance company struggles for accessing historic and observed weather data. As you know, crop insurance requires lots of data for product design and settling claims. So there actually struggles here for historic and observed weather data. And if you see the aggregators, the critical pain points of the aggregators are to manage the documentation and paperwork. Since insurance is very regulated industry in our country and all over the world as well. So all the aggregators or agent has to go through different types of documentation and processes to manage the insurance product and the partnership. So it's a struggle and challenge for them. And finally, when we look at the farmers, the main struggle of the farmers is to get the information after about the claims, like is the claim is happening or the trigger has been triggered, and also getting the claims settled in the due time. Like farmer needs the money when the climate hazard has happened and they need the money immediately. So this is the critical challenge they face. And if we look from the gain point of view, what they actually expect, like we have seen that insurance company wants to have more control on product design and pricing, and our aggregator partners want to have more visibility since they are the connection between the insurance company and the farmers. So they want to have the more visibility about the product and the product performance. And farmers wants not only insurance, but also some after-sale services and value-added agronomic services from the insurance companies. So our resilience engine is capable to ensure three bottom line, like the scale, margin, and value. So resilience engine is capable of attaining large number of farmers at a go, and also ensure margin for both the insurers and the aggregators by minimizing the operational cost, and value by ensuring the needs of the different stakeholders. Like by using the resilience engine, every parties have a win-win situation. So what do resilience engine offer? It's a tech solution. It offers 6 modules. Like for the insurance company, climate data library and actuary factory. So climate data library is just a repository of data. You can find the location-specific micro-level data from this climate data library. And the actuary garage or factory is a workshop for the actuary or the insurance specialist, where anyone can just analyze the product, design the product, and create different kinds of simulation to find out the payout ratio and price sensitivity. And the next 2 modules are customer onboarding tools and marketplace ecosystem. So customer onboarding tools is just a digital version of the processes. So aggregators or the agent doesn't have to use lots of paper and processes to ensure the customer registration. They just will have to use the mobile application or web application to register the farmers. And this module has a dynamic validation control system, so that we can easily change the different parameters easily based on the policy requirement or the organizational requirement. And we have a very interactive mobile and web-based application. And the marketplace ecosystem is just a place where you didn't have to sign any paper physically. You can just download the digital version of contracts, policy documents, and upload with the digital signature. So no face-to-face interaction is required between the insurance company and the aggregator if they use the marketplace ecosystem. And for the farmers, we offer 2 different modules: automatic claim settlement. So we do not have to rely on the paper-based calculation or actuary. The system will say whether the claim is happened or not, and it is possible to notify the farmers via SMS. And we are working to provide agronomic advisory service also based on the historic and observed data directly to the farmers using the mobile phone. And the best feature that I'll say that it has a digital dashboard where anyone, the aggregators or the can see how the product is performing. Is any trigger has happened yet? And we can also see the real-time claim monitoring. Like in our last season, the monsoon season, we onboarded around 63,175 farmers. It's the largest bunch still now in Bangladesh. And there were lots of contracts, like 29 contracts were signed, but we can see from the resilience engine that 2 contracts has already triggered claim. So it's since the coverage period is also already running, but we can see the product performance directly from the resilience engine under the real-time contract monitoring and dashboard. So I would like to request Nihar to go to the second slide. Thank you. So what are the challenges and lessons learned? From our point of view, we have been seeing that integration of this resilience engine or our technology with the existing systems of our partners is the crucial challenge. For the systems, we are meaning the high-tech ERP solution to different kinds of scattered digital solution, as well as the existing manual system. Like people are very reluctant to adopt a new system that is provided by a third-party solution provider beyond their industry or beyond their sector. So this is a major challenge to facilitate this system to our partners. And the second challenge, we are seeing that the capacity of our insurance company to use that actuary factory or that system to create products by their own, since they are only dependent on the actuary certified actuaries. So we have to capacitate them, and also the confidence, since their profit and loss will be dependent on this calculation. So a tech solution will decide how they will perform or how their balance sheet will perform. So there's some discussion of whether the management will really accept this kind of solution, tech solution for revamping their business. And finally, since the system will be working in collaboration with different parties who came from different industries, so there will be different regulatory bodies. So getting approval and patronage of different regulatory bodies, like who will be monitoring what, this will be the major question while we'll be trying to commercialize this InsurTech platform in coming years. And as already Nihar said, what is our key learning and lesson learned from the field? We have been seeing that our initial goal was to just create an end-to-end digital solution without any human touch. But we have been seeing that human touch is needed. So we are now thinking about making it phygital, like finding the sweet spot where we can introduce human touch. Like our farmers are very much they experience cognitive disorder. Like they feel that since it's a financial product, they want some support after the product sells. So we need some kind of connection between the insurance company and the aggregator and the farmers. It must be a human-to-human connection. And if we can see the data, we are seeing that access to mobile and digital technology is increasing day by day. But we need to think about the users of those technology. Like I can have a smartphone, I can have a technology, but do I know how to use this technology or smartphone for the betterment of my life? Like the digital literacy is a key concern here. So that's
well,
why
many thanks, Manuel. Sorry, I don't want to shut.
Yeah. So
yeah,
thank you so much. I think that's all from our side, and I'll be expecting some feedback and questions from you too. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Manuel. So please continue putting your questions here into the chat if you wish. So in that case, we would continue. Just one question to the organizers here. I was getting some messages that some colleagues of mine had difficulties joining this breakout session. I don't know what to do about it, but just as a side note. So we would continue with the case in India, so with Swetan Sagar, and let me give a short introduction to him. He's the head of advocacy and development at the Microfinance Institutions Network, MFIN, which is a self-regulatory organization in India. And prior to MFIN, he was the COO of the Microcredit Ratings International Limited. He has over 2 decades of multi-country experience in the areas of microfinance, microinsurance, enterprise promotion. And his key areas of expertise include, among others, policy, advocacy, data analytics, and capacity building of financial institutions, particularly when it comes to the low-income segment of the population. He holds an MBA from the Indian Institute of Forest Management. And now I give the floor to you, Swetan.
Thank you, Nihar, for the introductions, and thanks also for providing us this opportunity to share this of its kind of product in which we are. Before we go on,
I think your voice is a bit interrupted. I don't know whether I'm the only one of hearing it like that. I think there is some distortion.
Am I clear?
It's the same, in fact. It's not changed.
Oh. Okay, what can I do?
Shweta, try without the video. We've seen you. We can see you again, but try without the video while you speak.
Let's give that a try.
Am I audible now? Or
Yes.
is it still the same?
It might be the
Much
same, but
better.
talk a bit more, then we'll see. I think it's better.
Okay. So thanks, Nihar, once again. And before I explain the product, I would like to briefly explain the problem. What the problem is in microfinance in India, and how we conceptualize a solution to address that problem. So it's well known that India is one of the most climate risk-prone countries. Every year we see several natural catastrophe events happening all around the country. It's not limited to 1 or 2 states. It's basically everywhere. Whether be it cyclone on the coastal side, or earthquakes near the Himalayas, or flooding near the Ganga belt. So everywhere catastrophe is happening, and every year we see that. And since Microfinance Institute Network, our main work is with the microfinance borrowers, and most of these borrowers belong to the low socioeconomic background. And our MFIs, the NBFC MFIs, they provide credit to such borrowers. And what we had observed in the last few years, that the natural catastrophe event, whenever it happens, it impacts the livelihoods of these borrowers in a very negative way. And the trend is that in the aftermath of the event, at least 2 to 3 months is the most crucial period, and during which, if they are not supported, there's a very high chance of them going further down, in terms of socioeconomic status and increasing vulnerability and so on. So, having understood this problem, we were trying to find out, what could be the solution, because clearly the risk is there, and that is when we met the GSAT team, and we discussed the problem, and we tried to figure out what solution could be provided to these microfinance borrowers to rough out or to ride out these 3 or 4 months period after the catastrophic event. And that is when we decided that parametric natural catastrophe insurance could be one of the solutions that can be offered to the clients. Because at present, the microfinance institutions do not have too much of options available with them. They do provide some top-up loans to their borrowers, they do health camps, but beyond that, there is no solution as such which they can offer to their clients to ride out this period. So the basic objective of this product at the microfinance customer level was to reduce financial stress, particularly 3-4 months, as I said, this testing period. Help them deal better with or cope better with the event, because what we have seen in the past, that whenever such event occurs, there's a natural tendency to sell off assets, to bring in cash flows and manage the immediate financing needs of the household, whether be it health or food or whatever. It also happens that since they are also microfinance borrowers, and since their livelihood and income earning capacity gets impacted, they are not able to honor their payment obligations to the MFIs, which they get into more deeper trouble because their credit bureau records get tarnished, and the next loan, whenever they apply for, would be difficult to get. So when we talk about access to finance of such borrowers, it definitely gets impacted if they are not paying on time and paying regularly. So this was the thought behind the product at the customer level. At the MFI level also, whenever such event happens, not only the borrowers get impacted, but the lenders also get impacted because of the delays in payment by the customers, and because of higher provisioning requirement of these bad loans. So the profitability, the sustainability of the institutions also get impacted. And one more thing that we thought, that what we saw, that MFIs are a bit reluctant to offer credit facilities in areas which are highly prone to natural catastrophe events. Obvious reasons. Now, if this product is available for them, it gives them an incentive to venture out and increase their outreach in such difficult areas, and basically enhance the access to finance to borrowers who reside in such zones which are natural catastrophe prone zones. And so with that thought and with that objective, we conceptualize this product, which is a parametric insurance product. And the cover here is basically for the loss in income due to the event. Now, it is very difficult to measure loss in income. So we came up with a proxy that let it be equivalent to a maximum of 3 months of loan obligations to be paid by the borrowers. Why these 3 months? Because as I said earlier, that this 3 or 4 months period is the most critical. After that, the problem subsides and things get back on track. So if this during this 3 months period, if there is some support, financial support, either through insurance claims or something like that, it would help them restart their livelihoods, come back on track, and so on. And the 4 perils that will get covered by this product are flood, drought, cyclone, and earthquake. And it is an optional and consent-based product for the microfinance borrowers, which is why their awareness generation becomes a very key activity. It's a complicated product, not very easy to understand, even for us who are from the similar background. So it becomes very critical. And MFIs will be the master policy holders. They would have the choice to select which perils in which districts for their borrowers. And the unit for the insurance would be a geographic unit within a district. It could be a block, it could be a gram panchayat. So these are some things which we are still trying to figure out, and this will all reflect in the benefit table, which is currently being prepared by our insurance partners. And to point out the tech innovation here, which is the focus of this session. So the tech innovation here is the technology that we'll be using to measure the perils. So for the flood peril, the satellite data would be used to index the flood-based payouts. So the Sentinel satellites or satellites would be used to track the flooding patterns in the geographic units, the insurable units, to measure the inundation levels, the percentage of inundation, and so on. It will help us identify the triggers. And if the trigger is hit, the payouts will happen.
Svetan, many thanks. I don't want to cut you short, but I think we should also keep some time for the discussion later, where we will have.
I'm towards the end of my presentation, so this is a brief about the product, and I'm also happy to share with all of you that the product is now been approved by the insurance regulator in India. Only a few days ago, we got the approval under regulatory sandbox. And we'll be starting a limited period trial very soon, and we are very excited to do that. Thank you very much, and yeah, we'll be happy to answer your questions.
Many thanks, Svetan, and very excited about the approval from the Indian regulator. Let's see how that moves forward. Great. Yeah, so with this, we are coming to the next case study, which brings us now from the Asian continent to the African continent to Kenya, with Amos Tabalia, who is the head of research and development at ACA Africa, which he joined in 2016 to help develop new and digital insurance solutions that protect smallholder farmers. And he has a lot of experience in climate risk modeling in this field. And he holds a master's degree in GIS and Earth observation from the University of Twente. And in addition, I don't know how he finds the time, he is also pursuing a PhD at Wageningen University and Research. So over to you, Amos.
Thank you, Nihar, and thank you all the attendants. I'm really excited that I can be able to share with you about our project in Kenya. And this is a project which we have partnered with ISF and other partners to manage to implement it. Our project Amazing Crop Insurance Program is we're implementing it in Kenya from July 2021 to 2023. This project is based on previous feasibility studies and pilots that we've been doing with new technologies and innovations. And so this is basically scaling up the the good results from those previous studies to try and commercialize and see if these are things that can improve the uptake of insurance across different farmers. The main challenges that we want to address in our project are basically issues to do with trust, and also issues to do with basis risk, and also issues to do with profitability in terms of scale and affordability. So there are quite a number of issues that we want to do, and we believe that through technology and through digital solutions, we are able to to scale up from the 12,000 farmers that we had in the previous feasibilities to 3,000 300,000 farmers in in a period of 2 years. So that is the test that we have. We do this in 4 seasons, and we do this by also trying to scale in terms of the regions that we are covering. So our target is to move from less than 10 counties that we did in the previous projects to more than 10 counties, that is about 13 counties. We also scale in terms of the value chains that we want to address. So we are no longer just looking at one value chain, because the needs of our farmers are beyond, the smallholder farmer needs are beyond just one crop. You find farmers who have different crops in the same regions, and most of them need these kind of solutions in terms of weather risks. We also look at different perils. So the one thing about index insurance solutions or parametric insurance is basically they do cover limited number of perils, and those are the indexable kind of perils, such as drought and excessive rainfall. But in our project, in this project, we increase that to a bit more number of perils to provide the farmers the kind of comfort that they need, knowing that their whole value chain is covered. Our main approach is to use 3 main, different distribution models, that is at micro, meso, and macro level, with those targets clearly stated as shown in the slides. Then we have a very, important revenue target, and that is, in terms of premium collection and sums insured. We have very clear targets, and these are the key indicators which will show that we have managed to scale up. So based on these targets, then it means that we have to find, a cost-effective method, a cost-beneficial method to do that. And that is why now we employ technology, digital technologies, and different digital solutions. And what we are providing farmers with, or our target beneficiaries, is basically a hybrid kind of product, a product that combines an index-based solution, that is a soil moisture index product, which is provided by Vandasat. And the advantage of this product is that it provides monitoring at 100 meters and at an affordable rate. So we are able to do a near on-farm kind of monitoring, and the solution around this is that this satellite-based soil moisture is actually based on a number of different satellites, and using machine learning algorithm, the Vandasat team was able to create a historically long enough data set that is able to do insurance rating. But also we validate this data in the previous feasibility studies, and we are able to validate it with ground measurements, soil measurements from farmers. And we find that this actually provides accurate representation of soil availability to crops. So we are talking about soil which is directly available to crops for growth, compared to rainfall, which sometimes can be lost in canopy, or those kind of things. So what we do after that, we have an application which we also use machine learning to create what we call picture-based insurance. And what this application does is that we are able to provide it to farmers or to our agents. And basically at the beginning of the season, they can take, repetitive photos of their plot. They target a place, and when they take the first photo, that first photo forms a mask of that area, even before sowing or planting. And then in the following week, they'll pass again through the same area, and they'll have to, align the phone to that masked area. And then they take the photo. If it's not aligned to that masked area, the photo cannot be taken. So we've trained our agents and farmers to do that. And so they continually do this across the season as the crop grows, and we are able to, capture these, a time series of images from a section of the plot of the farmer. So at the same time, this means that, this tool on a digital application able to farmers or sign them up on this one tool, and also monitor a number of of farms at the same time with this. But also it provides farmers access to the soil moisture data. So our product is a combination of that, and the one smartphone is able to do the monitoring at on-farm level, and it's also able to register the farmer and provide the farmer with the soil moisture product. And so these combined images that in the course of the season, what we end up having is that you have a historical time series from a plot or sample plots in a homogeneous area. And these are basically analyzed by a team of loss verifiers. And these are basically agronomists, insurance participants who are able to look at these images. And it's not usually at the end of the season. Sometimes it's every week as images come in. And they generate, reports, loss assessment reports. But at the same time, they're able to quickly, pick out visible losses that or practices that may be quickly, linked to the farmer, and the farmer is called back to be told, you need to do you have stress in terms of nutrients. You probably need to do weeding, or you need to do to apply fertilizer on your farm. So it serves both purposes, that farmers can easily communicate with us by just looking at the photos, and we also allow them to give feedback to us. And basically at the end of the season, we are able to trigger payouts based on these two combined solutions, and that just gives you an idea of what we are doing in our project. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Amos, and sorry for being so pushy and going to the thank you page, but thanks for presenting the amazing program. So I know why you call it Amazing Insurance, Crop Insurance Program. Now we come to the last case, that is we are going to Sri Lanka. So let me give you an introduction to Ranmali Gamage, and after that I would ask organizers, like in a minute, to start the video which we have. So Ranmali Gamage is the head of the SME Sector Development Program at GSAT Sri Lanka. In that role, she advocates healthy competitiveness, business inclusivity, and economic sustainability to SMEs in the field of organic agriculture and sustainable tourism. She has over 15 years of experience in both public and private sectors, working in ICT, policy and change management, and so on. And she has a bachelor's degree in economics and management and a master's degree in strategic marketing. And I would like to ask you to start the video now, and then we go over to Ranmali with some questions.
Sri Lanka's agricultural sector contributes towards 7.8% of the country's total GDP.
So you have to maximize the right window.
Farming. This means that nearly 90% of poor household earnings depend on rural agricultural economy. This comes with its own challenges. For example, crops are often affected by extreme weather conditions. This means that insurance claims for different crop varieties are not equal and need to be individually assessed. This process can take a long time. So we came up with an easy solution, introducing the iFarm mobile app, a trilingual mobile app that enables efficient insurance claims for farmers. Here's how it works. When crops are affected by extreme weather and climate change related disasters, farmers can use the iFarm app with the support of a field officer to document proof of damage. Using existing data, the app evaluates the accuracy of the damage and formulates a claim. The final claim is then directly deposited to the farmer. It's that simple. The iFarm app includes several supporting services, such as an updated newsfeed with headlines about local and global marketplaces, information about agri-development, and current trends. There's also a virtual marketplace for farmers to sell produce and network with stakeholders. The app also includes a weather application for early warning support. There's also additional support that we provide through farmer education and awareness training, focus group discussions, and demonstrations of the iFarm mobile insurance platform. So far, 21,755 crop farmers have been included in the database. 2,191 livestock farmers have also been included. We've also successfully completed 115 onboarding and training sessions. The iFarm app enables immediate and efficient claim reimbursement, no negotiation, and reduces logistical requirements. The perfect solution, the iFarm app, produced by GIZ Sri Lanka.
So many things. Now we go over to the panel discussion, and like I told you in the housekeeping, you can minimize the presentation so that you see the speakers larger. I just did it. I can't do it for you. So yeah, let's. If you don't mind, Ramali, I'm going to start with you because we saw the presentation, but we didn't hear you yet speaking, and I would like to ask you a question you presented in this nice video, the iFarm app, the benefits of it. I would like to learn from you, what are the lessons learned you have, gathered when implementing that solution?
Right, thank you, Nihal, and thank you also for the panelists. It's very interesting applications. I mean, all of us kind of want to address the same problem with similar solutions, and I think all of you will also kind of agree with me when these two kind of lessons learned that I had during this course of introducing the application, implementation, introduction, and all that. One of the things, the main points that we learned is that digitalization is not standing on its own. When we were going through this process, we realized, okay, right, we are going to introduce this application to the farmers. It's going to be easy. It's going to be user-friendly. All that we had imagined, when we went into the field, we realized, right, we also should be addressing certain things in the structure. In our case, the insurance structure, where it involves the insurance providers, it involves the farmers, of course, and it involves where the data is coming from. That itself needs to be addressed through the application. Like the first, of course, we went ahead and we said, like, okay, within 1 year, we're going to introduce 10,000. We're going to include 10,000 farmers into the app. It's going to be easy. But it took 2.5 years for us to actually get into a level where the application was accepted by the farmers. And not only that, the application is accepted by the insurance providers themselves. Because one of the things we learned, that the company that we worked with, their database was not digitalized. So that we had to address head on. And that itself was a bit of a challenge that we overcame. I mean, it's a very, very nice video that is done by my team, but the journey to get to this place was not super easy. So that comes to my second point. That we had a plan, it didn't really go according to the plan, but we never gave up. We continue to do it. We continue to look into various matters. We continue to understand what the company would want, the farmer would want, any other stakeholders who are involved would want, and continue to change. So that is the second kind of like that, us being really flexible or agile in our method was another one that we learned. And also the last point in our video that we touched upon is on the farmer sensitizing of the application. In Sri Lanka, the smartphone intake is very high, and I would think even the digital literacy, even in the farmers, it's quite high. But we had to use a lot of communication methods, like having these workshops, focus groups, and so on, just to introduce this new application. From our side, of course, we tried to make it as simple as possible, but also we kind of did this communication part of introducing, and like how you do here, Nihar, right? I mean, say that you're telling us, okay, click on this button, click on that button. So applications are like that. To me, I work in a different way, but to everybody else, everyone has their own personal way of handling it. So this is what we did. Like we had over 100 workshops, and this is not for like a big area in Sri Lanka, very small area, but we also learned about how to introduce, but also we worked with the farmers when it comes to introduction.
Thanks a lot, Ranmali, for your answer. There's another question that Pranav raised, which also goes to you, which I would like to ask and ask you for a short answer to that. He's saying, as this still involves physical visit to the farm, how does it compare with weather station-based index insurance, both for the time and cost for settlement of claims?
Based in the time and cost settlement of claims. Okay, so this does involve physical visit to the farm, at least on the first phase. This is one of the other things that the application, we are not stopping here. Like, okay, iFarm is here, we are stopping. No, we are also planning on introducing more module into the application. What happens is, it's a very good, thanks a lot, Pranav, for coming into that point, because I would also like to highlight the fact we use this application to streamline the process, so thereby increasing the efficacy and efficiency. So if a claim used to take like 2 weeks to process, we kind of reduce it by 1 week. And the beauty is that the farmer can just take a photo and send it back to the insurance provider, which used to be like a field officer would visit. They will create a huge number of documents that will be shipped to Colombo, which is where the main office is at, and kind of would take about 2 to 3 weeks. We kind of reduced that. And
okay.
Yeah.
There's
okay.
one more remark from Pranav. He was saying that he
Yes.
has been working with the Sanasa company also on index-based insurance in Sri Lanka, and he
Okay,
would
Pranav.
love to learn more on this app. So please, touch base and have some exchange.
Yes, that would be good. Actually, just to say, Nihar, and also Pranav, that the application I was talking about is for Sanasa. I did not really include the companies, but yeah. So I'm pretty sure we will meet somewhere again through Sanasa.
Thanks a lot. Let me feel free to also to the audience to raise your hand. You don't have to type it in if you have a question, but until the next question comes, one question to you, Amos. So, I mean, I was quite impressed by the very ambitious goal that you mentioned. You have 12,000 farmers currently. You want to reach 300,000 farmers, smallholder farmers, which is not easy, in a bit more than a year. So, how do you plan to achieve this goal? Particularly, what is the role of insurance in achieving that goal? If you could give a quick answer, that would be appreciated.
Yes, I think the one thing is that we have ambitious targets, and we think we are able to do this. And the digital solution itself is, at the core of that. And at its very best is through that digital, tools that we take out there. We're able to have, collect information at both meso, macro, and micro level. So this tool works across all these elements. And the one thing is that we believe that, in the first season, if the farmers feel that they are part of the insurance process itself through this interaction, the digital interaction and the whole process, it actually helps, the confidence and the retention rate itself is going to be high. That is one of the challenges that we do have. So basically, we think the costs involved with the tool are cheaper compared to, the traditional methods whereby, agents were going and, signing up with a long process of, as Ranmali has talked about, with forms and all that kind of thing. Thank you.
Many thanks, Amos, for your answer. I have another question I would like to raise to maybe Svetan. So when I think, as I have been also working for some years in India, the microfinance institutions in India, maybe in many parts of the world, often combine insurance, club it to the offer to the clients. Often it's credit-linked insurance, life insurance, or Hospicash. Now we're talking here about 4 Netcat perils, which are bundled and offered, which is quite an ambition. I would like to know how appealing is this to the MFIs, which are a member of the MFIN, or how appealing is it to the customers of the MFIs, if you could elaborate to that, or is it like a very strange animal to them?
Yeah, thanks. For customers, would be That is why
it's really difficult to hear you.
sorry, am I audible now?
Give it a try.
Can you hear me?
It's not working for me. I don't know for the others currently. Maybe, I don't know, you can try, either you park your answer or you type your answer in the chat, either way. Either you type it in or you park it and I'll come back to you later when you feel like the line is better. Is that okay? Because currently it's really too difficult to understand. So in that case, maybe let me give an answer to you, Panuel. I mean, we had this very interesting InsurTech platform that you presented, the resilience engine, which is kind of end-to-end. It provides different modules which help insurance companies. It helps with pricing or risk assessment, the aggregator with the management, the farmers with value-add services, which is quite interesting. But I would be interested, what is the, not currently, but what is the long-term business model? I mean, who's eventually paying for the cost to maintain it, to update it, to customize it? Maybe you could elaborate on that shortly. We can't hear you, you're on mute. Yeah. We can't hear you. Now give it a try. We can't hear you. Maybe in the meantime, before park your answer, we can't hear you, but Pranav, you're raising your hand. Either you have an answer to the problem or an answer to the question.
No, just a comment on this. And this is a clear-cut case. Technology just fails when it shouldn't. And this is exactly the issue with implementation of technology, that it becomes a long-drawn process and costs keep going on. So related to this issue of costs, what we have experienced in various projects, and I guess everybody knows at the end of the day, there's no free lunch. It ultimately gets costed into the cost of premiums and somebody has to pay for it ultimately. But our experience has been that in the initial stages where development sector support, funder support gets the proof of concept accepted. And once the proof of concept is accepted, and then both on the supply side, there is acceptance, as Ramnali said, the insurers agree to what is happening, and the beneficiaries themselves feel it is worth it to get into the program, then it can kind of move towards sustainability. But in the initial stages, there is definitely some support required to ensure that the product actually, it's the basic trust issue on how it works, and to ensure that such things don't happen, that when it should work when it should. That's the goal.
Yeah, thanks, Pranav. No, thanks for pointing that out. I mean, I agree, and I think this is also the idea by organizations like GSAT or Insurance Solution Fund or Concepts, support for the initial phase so that it can become sustainable and eventually also business savvy. I would like to ask another question to Amos, maybe. Now, you indicated it, but I would be curious to know, how do smallholder farmers perceive the solution? I mean, you have the innovation of a soil moisture index, which is kind of very nice and very good, but more abstract. And then you have the picture-based approach with artificial intelligence. You marry it together. Is it like a black box for them? And are they hesitant, or are they embracing it?
I think that is this is a very important question and a nice one, and it's one of the questions that we had to really look into at the very beginning. And part of the feasibility studies we were doing were basically to see if farmers understand even have an idea what soil moisture is. But the most interesting thing is that actually, sometimes we do not also think, in our co-creation processes, we forget, the end users. And when we went and, talked to them, we were actually surprised that they understand how, this kind of thing works, because soil moisture itself is a very, complex concept to even a lot of us. But we discovered that some farmers in some regions actually, they do, when they want to know if there's enough, water, or after it rains, if it's enough and ready for them to grow, then to plant their crops, then they actually put their hands in the soil, and then they feel how moist it is, and then they're able to know if it is ready for planting or not. And that automatically made us, to start understanding that actually farmers have already been, understanding how, the effect of drought versus that in terms of that. And so we piggyback on that kind of feedback to, design the correct kind of training and capacity. When it comes to the picture-based, which is, complex and it's still also a black box for a lot of people. There's machine learning in it. There's, deep learning in terms of, extracting features and, converting that into loss information. That was a bit harder. But what we worked on is basically a program to train and, just even help farmers understand how to use a smartphone, which was quite challenging. Even just opening a Gmail account was really important. The most interesting part is that as soon as, a farmer or anyone else learns how to just open a Gmail account, or, how to go through a few apps, then the learning just takes up, and, they just know more things through interactions and amongst themselves. So we are piggybacking on those kind of, adoption, traits amongst, different groups to, to train and to equip them further. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Amos. Maybe I can give a short question to you, Ranmali, like with a 1-minute answer, if possible. Since you mentioned, and Pranav mentioned, that is the one company that picked up the iFarm app. What could other companies, insurers in Sri Lanka, and there are others, public and private ones, encourage to pick it up as well? What do you think?
I think it's the fact that we, at least from GSAT side, when we introduce this application, that we are not necessarily just telling them what to do, but rather giving them a solution for a problem they have. So matter of fact, the biggest insurance provider in Sri Lanka is a state-owned insurance body, and they like the application, but of course they mentioned the whole fact that their database is not digitalized. So that would be the first thing to digitalize. And they themselves were very keen on understanding how do, at least for Sri Lanka, still the insurance happens based on the weather data, weather index, but these companies would like to move forward, figure out other ways to calculate the premium and so on. So one of the things is that, in short, what I would like to say is that to have this willing partner to go forward, and in this case, Sun as our previous company was one of those, and now the state-owned company is also in the same line with us. And secondly, to continue to make the application, it's not just a standalone, but like a value-added product throughout everybody who is going to get benefit, like not only the farmers, but other stakeholders and the company, insurance company themselves. Short, I think 1 minute.
I didn't stop the time, but thanks a lot, Ranmali. I think, unfortunately, we're running almost to the end of this session, and it went too quick, and I hope we will have had more questions that we had the time to ask them. But maybe if I can sum it up from what I heard and learned, I see that we have a lot of interesting applications of digitalizations and addressing different aspects, from product design, from value-added services to farmers, to improving the product, underwriting, for the aggregator support. And I also see some of them might not be there that they are business ready, but they are getting closer to that. Now we are supporting like ISF or GSAT to bring that to a level where it reaches a certain scale and experience that it can run as an operation that, it can be covered the cost by the aggregators or insurance companies or the farmers. And what I also think, what I learned is it needs, it needs some kind of a human touch. There maybe draw certain things which do not work right away, like we realized today with the audio. Not everything works right away, but there's a process of improving it. And we see that also in our particular field of inclusive insurance of smallholder farmers, this will have a big impact, and it's not far away. It's not only for the insurance companies and the normal business in developed markets. It's in our markets that we are working in, where this could make a big difference, and where it could make an impact in designing, having better products, better accessibility, cheaper prices, hopefully. And I think that makes us hope quite for a bit that now this makes maybe the difference for inclusive insurance to scale up, to reach this critical scale we want to see, to also have a relevant impact. So saying that, I would really like to thank you all a lot for your, all the speakers for your participation, for your insights, for your time, and also the audience for sharing your thoughts, for listening, and being with us for this journey. So thanks a lot. And I wish you a wonderful day and hope you continue with other sessions in the annual forum.